So the Toronto Raptors keep their winning streak alive at 8 games for the win streak. They did defeat the Houston Rockets tonight, 139-120. So we're going to take a deeper dive talking about the Toronto Raptors, talking about the Houston Rockets, and overall the game and what went right, what went wrong, and just talking about the box score overall. So what's up? I'm JDC. I do Rockets/Raptors/NBA videos. So if that's what you'd like to see, drop a like down below and press the sub button. This game was really great, getting into the box score. I think we'll talk about the Toronto Raptors first because they did win. So Pascal Siakam had 30 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 13 and 19 from the field, and 1 of 4 from 3. So I got some notes here for the Toronto Raptors and the Houston Rockets. So one thing I wanted to mention is that Siakam in the first quarter definitely wasn't that great. He was getting locked up for the most part, but then the second half came in and then he just started to go off. So Siakam definitely got it going in the second half. Great game overall from Siakam, but Siakam's 3-point shooting is really the reason why this Toronto Raptors team is really just staying locked in right now. Siakam is shooting at around 36% from 3 compared to last season where he shot around 30% from 3. So Siakam, his improved 3-point shooting is really the reason why this Toronto Raptors team has been able to do what they have been on offense. So getting into the next player, Trent Jr, 42 points, 4 assists, 5 steals, 1 rebound on 15 of 26 from the field, and 6 of 13 from the 3. So Gary Trent was all over the basketball court today, throwing in 5 steals and 42 points. He was a centerpiece for offense today for the Toronto Raptors, and honestly, it was a masterclass from Gary Trent, and we got to take into account that he's only 23 years old. So over the season, 18 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. A lot of times this game, Gary Trent was able to get to the bucket very easily with the help of, Siakam, Chris Boucher, who had a pretty decent game too. Gary Trent, he's just showing a lot of potential to become a borderline all-star / an all-star in the future. So I think Gary Trent has the potential. He has a lot of upside too. Great 3-and-D player that can go off for 40 at any night given, 42 tonight. So looking at the next player, Scottie Barnes with 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists with a steal on 4-9 from the field and 1 of 5 from 3. Pretty quiet game from Scottie on offense, but defensively grabbing 7 rebounds and 6 assists and a steal. He really impacted the game on defense. He was pretty much quiet for most of the game. We were pretty much locking Scottie up. He wasn't able to get the ball, and honestly, it was a pretty quiet night from Scottie. I mean, he's gonna have one of these nights. Obviously, he is a rookie, so he's gonna have one of these nights where he hasn't been doing anything, and that's all right because he knew that he wasn't gonna have a great night and tried to affect the game in other areas. Grabbing 7 rebounds and 6 assists. So OG had 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal on 5 of 13 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3. Like I said with Scottie Barnes, OG knows when he isn't having a great offensive night and just affects the game in other areas that isn't offense, grabbing 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. So finally, Precious Achiuwa with 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block on 2 of 3 from the field, no threes, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So I think Precious Achiuwa, he definitely fits into the starting lineup well when Fred VanVleet isn't there or if one of the players aren't there. I think he fits in with the starting 5 well. He did only get 14 minutes in the starting lineup, so if he did get around 20 minutes, he probably would have had a better performance, but I think he fits well. The only real issue with him is that, 3-point shooting is around 30% from 3, which actually isn't that bad, but efficiency-wise, he's shooting 42 from the field and shooting 56% from the free throw, so efficiency-wise is going to be a problem for Precious Achiuwa, but I think he has a lot of upside, a lot of potential to become a very solid role player for this Toronto Raptors team. So, looking at the bench, a lot of players on the bench got a lot of run. Chris Boucher, Khem Birch, Malachi Flynn, and Delano Banton. So, we'll talk about the most important player off the bench, Chris Boucher, with 16 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal on 4 of 8 from the field, and 1 of 2 from 3. Boucher, he's fitting into that 6-man role very perfectly, and looking at it right now, 16 points per game. If Boucher can provide a double-digit game each and every night, or at least borderline double-digits game, or affecting the game in other places like grabbing 5 rebounds or dishing out some assists, Boucher, if he's able to affect the game in other areas that isn't offense, like grabbing rebounds, dishing out assists, playing some defense, I think he could be a throw-in for the 6th man of the year, depending if he's able to be consistent overall, and I think he can. It's just really a matter of if he can do it. So Malachi Flynn with 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. I think Malachi Flynn has a lot of potential. If you look at his age, he actually is around 23 years old, same age as Gary Trent Jr. And I think Malachi Flynn has a lot of potential. You know, he went 3-6 from the field, then 2-2 from 3. Those 2 threes were absolutely tough step back threes over Şengün and someone else. I forgot who it was, but I think he has a lot of potential to become a great point guard off the bench. The real reason that he doesn't get much love or much recognition is because he doesn't get as much minutes as he used to compared to last season. He's only averaging around 9 minutes per game this season. So if they could flip Malachi Flynn in the offseason or in the draft for maybe a first-round pick in this draft, then I would definitely do that. The problem is that he doesn't get much minutes, so his value is definitely lower than it should be. So finally, Delano Banton with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 5 of 8 from the field. You know, Delano Banton, he's still coming into his own, a rookie point guard, so we can't really expect too much from Banton, but I think he has a lot of potential to become, you know, maybe a bench point guard that can really just score. He did go 5 of 8 from the field, but 0-3 from 3, so his shooting percentage from 3 is not that great. So, yeah, I mean, the Toronto Raptors today, the one real thing I want to talk about is their defense was absolutely unreal. There were a lot of times this game where they would just run the full court press at around like 2 minutes left into the quarter, and it was working for the most part. It was honestly amazing. The Houston Rockets could not break this press. It's just great to see that the Toronto Raptors team is very scrappy on defense and is able to really just play some, you know, grit and grind defense. So that's really all I wanted to talk about for the Toronto Raptors. You know, I mean, there are some downsides to this game. Having no Fred VanVleet today was making the offense a little bit difficult. Obviously, Gary Trent Jr. went off for 42 because he was the primary ball handler, but I think it would have went a little bit more smoothly if they had a primary ball handler in Fred VanVleet who can, you know, dish out dimes but also can score. So basically, the Toronto Raptors played very well today. The first quarter was actually pretty much great for the most part. That was when the press started at around 2 minutes in the first quarter, and it was just so funny, man. So, yeah, I mean, that was the Toronto Raptors side of things. Now, switching over to the Houston Rockets side of things. There's a lot of talk about here. So, obviously, the Houston Rockets are my team, so there's going to be a lot to say about this team right now. So, I think we should start it off with Kevin Porter Jr. with 30 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal on 11-16 from the field. This is Kevin Porter Jr.'s second game where he has scored over 20 points, and he's been looking absolutely great in the last few games. You know, his efficiency has basically skyrocketed. Last 10 games, he's averaging 16 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds on 47 from the field, and 48 from the 3. So he's finally finding his rhythm. KPJ obviously started the season very slow, but in the last few games, he's finally finding what he's been able to do. You know, he's been able to score, he's been able to pass the ball. Ball movement has been so much better, and his court vision has been way better than it was at the start of the season. So great to see KPJ improving at the point guard position. So Garrison Matthews had 19 points, 6 rebounds, 1 steal on 5 and 9 from the field, and 3-7 from 3. You know, we all know what Garrison Matthews can do. He had around like 7 points in the first quarter alongside KPJ's 13. But yeah, I mean, sliding into the starting small forwards position today with Eric Gordon out, he got a lot of run today and scored 19 points. So Garrison Matthews can provide you some great 3-point shooting, like I said in previous videos, shooting it at around 38% from the 3 this season. So Garrison Matthews, he's definitely an interesting player for the Houston Rockets. They're probably not going to trade him in the offseason. There's just no way, because he's been so valuable for this Houston Rockets team. And he actually has been a hidden gem for this Rockets team. So looking at the other guys, Christian Wood, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists on 6 of 12 from the field, and 1 of 6 from 3. Very off night from Christian Wood. I don't really expect anything from Christian Wood anymore. I don't know. It was a very off night for Wood and very quiet night for him at best. So I mean, that's pretty much it for Christian Wood. I want to keep it at that. I really thought Christian Wood was going to get dealt at the trade deadline alongside Eric Gordon, but didn't really happen. So Jae'Sean Tate, 12 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds on 5 of 10 from the field, and 0-2 from 3. Tate has also been one of the more consistent players as of late, and in the last 10 games, he's been averaging around 12 points per game, 2 assists, 5 rebounds on 50% from the field, and 32% from 3. So honestly, Jae'Sean Tate, there were some reports earlier today talking about some teams having some trade interest in Jae'Sean Tate before the trade deadline. Obviously, he's still here, so those rumors were definitely cleared up, but I think he is going to be part of the young core, even if some Houston Rockets fans don't agree. He probably is going to be part of the core moving on. So finally, we got Jalen Green. Jalen Green actually had a pretty great game. 18 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist on 3-6 from the 3, and 7 of 13 from the field. So this was Jalen Green's most efficient game in the last few games. Jalen Green has actually been playing great as of late, and 18 points has been the most since, I want to say, February 2nd. So Jalen Green, he's been killing it. last few games, nothing too great, but also nothing too bad. He's actually having an up and down rookie campaigns. Hopefully he can keep up this high level of play and honestly just keep up that efficiency. So the bench isn't too noteworthy. KJ Martin had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and a steal, 5 of 8 from the field. I mean, Şengün had no points. He was a negative 22 in the plus minus. So, yeah, I mean, the Rockets, the one true thing that really killed this team today was defense. My boy Will Upton, if you guys want to check him out, I'll leave his link in the description. I was in this live stream earlier talking about the Houston Rockets, and he mentioned that obviously the Houston Rockets defense was bad. So, even among Houston Rockets fans, everyone knows that they can't play defense for their life. So, there's a lot of things on defense that they really do need to fix. Boxing out is really the one thing that they need to do. Rebounding is a huge issue for this team. The one thing about this team is that they can't really box out. Obviously, Christian Wood, big body, but he's the only real big body on this team. Jae'Sean Tate, he is 6'4", but can't really box out stronger defenders, or stronger opponents. So honestly, that's one real thing. We need a good big man that can just box out. We need 2 good big men that can box out. Şengün and Wood. The double big lineup doesn't really work, but if we can run that sometimes, then I would definitely do it. So other than that, I mean, KJ Martin, he's definitely an underrated finisher. There's been a lot of instances where he's been able to finish under the rim. So KJ Martin definitely deserves a lot of recognition for what he does. But yeah, basically, the whole team today was just straight trash. Christopher had 6 points and 2 rebounds. I don't know. This Rockets team, they're in the right direction for the rebuild, but as of right now, nothing's looking too great. I mean, KPJ and Jalen Green both scoring in double figures is a great sign to see. Christian Wood, nothing too great from him, but he could be looked to be moved in the offseason, so hopefully that does happen. Rafael Stone definitely disappointed a lot of Houston Rockets fans today, but hopefully he can redeem himself in the offseason. Good job by the Toronto Raptors. Trent Jr, 42 points. You are probably going to be the title of the video. So that's the video. I'm JDC, and I'm out. Peace.